begin by modeling the kitchen cabinets. In order to model each side of the cabinet, we'll need the floor plan and elevation for that side. We use floor plan for the depth of the cabinets and elevation for their length and height. First, we'll go into the layer manager. You should already have floor plan on and have turned off the other layers. I'll start with the side where we have the sink. To do this, we'll turn on kitchen sink elevation on, select new layer and rename it kitchen. Now we have both. Here I'm going to change the color of the elevation to have a better vision on the viewport. And we need to rotate elevation by 90 degrees and change the pivot to somewhere in the center of elevation. Turn on a snap tool and move to this corner. Here in floor plan, this line represents the upper cabinet while the other one indicates a lower cabinet. Now we'll create a box and with the snap tools on, make the box here with the height that we have in elevation. This one is the side panel. The next one is lower cabinet. Before doing that, we'll get a box as a measurement source for the cabinet door space, since the depth that we have in our floor plan is the total depth including the door. So we'll leave a space for the cabinet door. To do this, create a box with 2.5 cm depth. And start making your base cabinet. The next step is to create the toe kick. The standard depth for that is 3 inches and height is 3.5 inches. But we'll make it a little higher to look nicer. We'll then convert the box to editable poly and make some edges on the top and side of this box. Delete selected polygons. And now it's time to close open areas by selecting opposite edges and click bridge. Once that's done, you'll want to add doors. To do this, go into the front view and create a box with the same size as the door and elevation, and then snap it to the front side of the base cabinet. With Edit Poly, move vertices to the left to leave some gaps between doors. Repeat this with all the doors. Now I want to make countertop. In order to do that, create a box with the same size as the countertop and the floor plan. And then with Edit Poly, make some edges for the area that we have sink. And then click all these polygons, delete, and start closing all these open areas by bridge. To model the upper cabinet, we'll be repeating similar step as the lower cabinets. Before we begin, note we have 2 rows of upper cabinets. This one has the same depth as the lower cabinets, while the other one has the depth that is shown in the floor plan. Let's begin with the top one. Again, we'll get a box and make the base cabinet, then go to the front view, create a box with 2.5 cm thickness for cabinet door. And do the same for the second row. Next thing that we will do is making trim for the cabinet. To do that, I'll go to the line with the snap on, trace the outline of upper cabinet, and with sweep in modifier panel, make the thickness and height for that. Another thing that we need to do is making the cabinet door softer on the edges. In order to do that, I go to the modifier panel, select chamfer and isolate it here and change the amount to the 0.2 and segments 2 and 0.3 for this one, and select the smooth chamfers only in the smoothing output, and then drag and drop for all the cabinet doors. We will do all the same process for the other side of the cabinet. Last thing is modeling the island. I go to the layer manager, turn on layer for kitchen island. I make a box with area that we have in our floor plan and height and elevation. Then repeating the same thing to make toe kick and leave the area for dishwasher. After doing that, I go to the left view. With line I trace countertop and with extrude make thickness for that. Now we'll add appliances, a faucet and sink. To do that, I go to the file, import, merge, going to the address that I have filed for that, and select all, hit OK, and merge them to the sink. You may need to adjust the size, which you can do with FFD 2x2. After placing all the appliances, I wanna make these edges around the sink softer. To do that, I'm gonna select them and with chamfer and adding some segment, make it round. To start texturing, open the material editor and drag and drop Corona material. We will start with the base cabinet. Change the name to the kitchen base, and for diffuse color, something like dark gray with reflection of 1 and glossiness of 0.65. For the upper cabinet, we're gonna use off-white color with 0.85 glossiness. And for the second row of the upper cabinet, we will have wooden texture, and we'll select with the texture folder, adding to the diffuse color, and with color correction, I'm gonna make it black and white and add it to the bump. For the upper cabinet, I have shelf, which has two different texture, off-white and dark gray, which I do that with multi-sub object. The next thing that I want to do is adding UVW map to the area that we have wood texture, and rotate it to have it vertical on the cabinet. After doing that, it's time to add texture for the countertop. In order to do that, I go to the material editor and drag and drop Corona material, change the name to the countertop and select the texture for that with glossiness of 0.9. Then going to the modifier panel, applying UVW map with the number of 200 for X, Y, and Z, and then rotate it. And for the corner of this side, I'm gonna select these two vertices, connect them. After that, I need to select all these polygons for the left side of the countertop and copy paste the UVW map on top of edit poly, and then rotate it 90 degrees to change the direction of the texture on the countertop. We'll do the same thing for both sides of the countertop on the island, means selecting polygons and copy paste UVW map on top of edit poly and change the direction. Now I want to make countertop edges softer. In order to do that, instead of adding chamfer on modifier panel, I go to the material editor, right click, map, Corona, and select Corona round edges and add it to the bump with a radius of 4 cm. The last thing that I want to do is adding a backsplash. In order to do that, I'm going to turn on layer for the walls, and with plane and auto grid, I'm going to add plane on both sides of the kitchen and continue these edges with shift to the other side. And after that, select all these polygons and extrude it a little bit to have a little bit thickness, and adding the same texture that we have on the countertop for that. Now we're done with modeling and texturing the kitchen. Let's move on to modeling the powder room. Before we begin, let's go into the layer manager. Under powder room, create a new layer and call it model, and turn off the other layers while keeping the floor plan and powder room on. Rotate the powder room elevation by 90 degrees and snap it to the corner of the cabinet on the floor plan. Now we'll grab a box to model the base cabinet. Use a box as a measurement to leave 2.5 centimeters space for the cabinet door. And with another box, you'll be able to make doors. we'll make one of them and instance the others. Next, we'll model the countertop with another box and convert that to editable poly to adjust the size. Now we'll create a mirror and we'll use a cylinder with the measurement that we have on elevation. The thickness of the mirror is 0.5 centimeter and it has a base on the back side that creates a gap between the mirror and wall because we want to have a hidden light on the back side of the mirror. We create this hidden light by using a tube and applying a light material to it. The size of the tube should be smaller than the mirror. For the back side of the mirror, we'll add 2 mirror textures a slab of granite, and we can do this by creating a box the same size as the wall and convert it to an editable poly. Add 1 edge in between to make it half and delete the left side, and then make it an instance with a little bit gap in between. To begin texturing, open the material editor and drag and drop the corona material. We're going to start with the base cabinet and give it an off-white color for diffuse and glossiness of 0.65. Let's apply this texture for the doors as well. Next is a countertop. We set glossiness to 0.85. For diffuse, we're going to select Calcutta marble from the texture folder and reflection glossiness of 0.25. We'll add UVW map which measures 200 by 200 by 200 and we'll apply the same UV map and texture for the slabs on the wall and make it mirror. The next object is the mirror. Let's grab another corona material with a diffuse of black, reflection of 1 and fennel of 999. For the base of the mirror, we'll apply something like light gray, and for the hidden light, we'll drag and drop corona light material with an intensity of 10. This may change after we do the lighting. We'll add the faucet and sink after we're done with modeling of the Ensuite. The concept for modeling the cabinet in Ensuite is exactly like the powder room, so we'll skip to do that here. We have a partition between the cabinet and shower, and we'll make it with a box and convert it to editable poly. We add some edges and select all the polygons in between and insert it, then bridge all the gaps. It has a black frame with a glass in between. On the other side of the cabinet, we have built-in shelves with 3 doors and a wooden panel on top of the toilet that has a hidden light underneath, which will be added later on. Now it's time to add tile on the walls, and we will do it using floor generator. First, we'll turn the wall layer on with plane and convert it to editable poly. Applying floor generator, we'll model it. The size of the tile is 12 by 24 inches. The grout length is 0.2, extrude 0.5 and bevel of 0.2. We will do same thing that we have windows and door. And at the end applying texture. The last thing that we will do is add the faucet, sink and bathtub. To do that, let's go to the file, import, merge and select the bathroom faucet file and merge it to the scene. And start placing them to the bathrooms. To make sure the shower height is correct, you can use the biped with the 6 feet height, which is the standard for the tall person. Now we are done with modeling and texturing of the kitchen and bathrooms. In the next lesson, we will work on the living and dining area. See you next time.